Hi, and welcome to an in-depth look at our photo platform, DaschnBuidl. My name is Konstantin Pelz. I am an Erasmus student from the LMU Munich, and you can reach me through the following email address. In this video, I'm going to show you the photo platform DaschnBuidl, which my partner and I developed for the course Desarrollo de aplicaciones web, which in English is Web Application Development. DaschnBuidl is built in two parts. One is public, and the other one is private. If you are not logged in, you can only see the main page and register, but you can't get any more info on specific photos or albums. As you can see, there are 5 pictures displayed, the 4 most recent ones, and one which is randomly selected from a list of recommendations. Under it, you can see a randomly selected tip with its corresponding difficulty and equipment. We worked with the model view controller principle to get a very structured project, where the model class is usually not specified if it doesn't contain something special. This is also called convention over configuration, meaning that big parts of the program don't need to be written if they don't specify unconventional aspects. Every page is based on the base controller, which is responsible for giving it a basic structure, as you can see here. Every controller, like the one for the main page, extends the base controller and has 3 important parts: the variables, the construct, which is the constructor, and include content, which other pages should be included, like the header or the footer. The controller is responsible for calling other methods to get data or to manage the variables. As you can see here, this is done in the constructor of this controller. The content of the page is defined by the page name content.inc, in this case mainContent.inc. As you can see here, the previous received data gets displayed using normal HTML code and PHP echoes to insert variable values. Let's see what we can do when we have an account. If you want, you can register a new one here, but I already went ahead and created one and uploaded some pictures. This is my profile page, and I will now show you a little bit of the functionality. I can see the profile data I entered when I registered the account. I can also edit this data and do a lot of other cool stuff. If I want to upload new things, I just need to click here and can upload a new photo. Or I can see all the photos I've already uploaded. Now that I already uploaded a couple of photos, I already created some albums, and they can also be viewed. To give you an idea how we did things, I will show you the implementation with the example of the database and services. This is one of the main things in any modern program, but usually brings a lot of frustration with it. Data is an important part of any application, user data and our data, so it has to be stored. In our example, we use a MySQL database. Keep in mind that you take some time for configuring the database. It can easily take 2 to 3 hours to get everything properly working. Also, check that the database engine does what you want it to be. There are different database engines like InnoDB and MyISAM, but for example, MyISAM doesn't support foreign keys, so check that out before. When you're having difficulty with debugging, try to create a database service first and test that it works properly. Afterwards, you can start writing detailed database queries. You can create a debug part in your application so you can test user data and application data without having to exit your program. And if nothing works, just get some sleep. I can tell you from experience and from coding until 4 a.m., sometimes the database looks different in the morning. As the database behind the project, we used a web server with a MySQL database and a PHP-MyAdmin interface. That allowed us to see and insert test data very easily. As you can see here, we have different tables, and if we click on them, we can see the detailed table description and table data. To connect this table or the whole database to our program, we first need the hosting information of the space. I got this hosting information from the provider page, which under account details tells me my host name and the corresponding domain. This info is then saved in our program and is used whenever we start a new connection with the keyword MySQLi. If you want to know more on that, please read the documentation online as it is very detailed. As you can see, our configuration data is then saved in our database service class. Whenever we want to connect to a new database service or to our database, we can just call the MySQLi keyword with the following parameters. So when we need to make a new query, we first connect to the database. Then we use the method prepare to use a prepared statement. The difference between a normal statement and a prepared statement is that prepared statements are fully escaped. This means if we use a prepared statement, the user will not have any possibility to do SQL injection attacks. That means if we use a prepared statement, we don't have to worry about escaping. Afterwards, we will just add the parameters, bind them, and if it isn't successful, throw out an error message. Otherwise, we will execute the query, get the results, and return them. For operations like this, we usually use services. Every single service is a class singleton, which is then extended. Class singleton basically means that we just have one instance of that class. This is also used service-oriented programming. Every service represents a part of computing or other processes which can then be used in our normal web pages. This also means that every single function we write needs to be static, since we can only have one instance of every service. With this, I will end my video. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me and have fun coding your own DaschnBuidl.